Okay, we're live. Okay, three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 205. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi security today, or the lack thereof, or is this one big rabbit hole that we're never, ever going to secure? But we have a few topics, obviously, before that. But let's welcome everyone. I'm Haim Cohen. Where is Tom? Tom's right there.
I'm right
there.
here. Yeah,
You're right there.
right here.
Okay,
Somewhere in this direction.
So I mean, you're clearly west of me, but very far west of me, but that's fine. So Tom, I had a Nexus 6P. Did you have a Nexus 6P?
I did. I remember buying the Nexus 6P from a weird UK reseller because it wasn't for sale in the States yet.
So I went to the store. I got my Nexus 6P. I love the phone. Like I really, really liked it. It was a really good phone. But then it had issues, and I had the specific battery issue where it would just like die at like 70%. So whatever it was, Google apparently knew about it, but because it was built by Huawei, they were bound by some legal nonsense. Anyway, class action lawsuit. If you filed with it, you still may be able to file with it. We put a link in the show notes. We're supposed to get $400 each person.
That's not a bad chunk of change.
Okay, I mean,
if you have a phone, if you're not looking to upgrade, the Nexus 6P doesn't get security updates anymore, so you should move off of that if you haven't already. But you could always buy a Nintendo Switch.
Look, so my dad I was going to be on the 6P for a third year because phones should last more than 2 years. And the Pixel 2 came out, and my wife needed a phone. I said, you know what? Let's just go for broke, and we bought two of them. And we put in the drawer, and I use it as a backup when somebody always needs a phone. The problem is now when you trade in your phone, there is no backup. Like you're kind of screwed in that regard. If you just need something, like you're going to a foreign country or your phone breaks and you need something for a couple weeks or whatever it is, I always like to have at least a semi-newer backup of a phone. But $400 is $400, and if the new phones are $1,000 when the old phones are $600, there you go. 1,000 minus 400 is 600. So there you go. I'm hoping to get my $400. I'm probably going to do what Tom's doing, which is
probably upgrading to an iPhone, or most definitely upgrading to an iPhone. I'm going to try to make it until September-ish is usually when the new iPhones come around, just because I want to upgrade to the latest and greatest thing and then not touch it for a few years. But my Pixel gets about 2 hours of screen time battery life and 10 hours of idle battery life. So it's gonna be quite a stretch to make it all the way to September.
My sister also has a Pixel. She paid the $80 official Google take it to an official license place and get a new battery. She claims that it's way better, but not great. I don't know what that means, but she's also on that phone all day. So your mileage may vary with that. Look, I need a USB-C iPhone. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I don't want to rumor it, but the iPads have it. The laptops have it. The new iPads do not, which gives me pause to say that I don't think that the lightning cable is going away on this iPhone, but I don't know. So I need to have USB-C.
It would just be great if I could have one charger for everything. That's really what I want in life. As soon as we get there, I'm happy. And I thought we were almost there with micro USB. So close. So close.
I mean, I love USB-C. I try to, if it comes to I don't care if it comes with a proprietary charger, but if it's a micro USB, I really want it to be USB-C. Like I just really want it to be. And we're not 100% there yet, but the Switch, my phone, my wife's phone, the laptops, we're getting there that the primary devices are. So anyway, you get your $400. Well, the link will be in the show notes. They said that if all goes well on May 9th, and it said that all indications say it will, $400. So let's get that out of the way. The second story we have is well, I want to save the Wi-Fi for the end, but Google will now let you use your Android phone as a physical security key. So So I was telling Tom in the pre-show, we're trying to get somebody from YubiKey to come back on and talk to us. So we don't want to do a whole episode now and then about it, but we just wanted to review quickly what the different multi-factor levels are and their problems with each. So the very first one is SMS, and the answer is if you don't have anything, SMS is at least better than nothing.
Yep.
Okay, so we talk about not having SMS, but again, we're above that. If the answer is nothing, at least SMS.
Right. Yeah, I know that, you know, a lot of smaller banks in the US, you know, will do two-factor authentication, but they're SMS only, right? They don't support Google Authenticator. They don't support U2F. They don't support some banks actually supported hardware tokens, so kind of like RSA secure ID tokens that they would hand you, and you'd hit a button and read off a number. Those have kind of fallen out of favor and are being replaced with SMS two-factor authentication, which is cheaper for the bank and really more convenient for the end user.
Remember, we had our PayPal security token that they now stopped. I'm annoyed, Fidelity. I'm looking right at you, Fidelity. I do not want Symantec's VIP token. I don't know why you exist, but please go to Google Authenticator. Just please.
And it's free to implement. It's not like Google takes patent charges or licenses this tech out. It's quite literally open source. You can bake it into anything.
And saying that Symantec is more secure, I mean, I have a bridge to sell you. It's please move. But then the next thing are your 6-digit codes that we've been talking about. And those are basically still bulletproof, but the big hole is if you're entering into a spear phishing attempted site. So the site is, you see the green lock, you check everything, but it's google.com.ru something. It's not really Google. So what they're doing is they're taking your code at the time and then basically man in the middling you. They're putting up a second site that looks very much authentic. It's, unless you absolutely check everything, you can be spoofed. They have the 6-digit code, and now you're in trouble.
Yeah, the 6-digit codes, they're great. Now you don't want to point a camera at them or take screenshots or hand them to people, because with enough codes, someone can reverse engineer the secret that generates those codes. So you do want to keep them kind of secret, like passwords, because they can be reverse engineered today. And just like you're saying, they can absolutely be phished. Phishing sites have caught up, bad actors have caught up, and if a site requires two-factor authentication, they're going to ask for the code right away and script an attack to feed it right through and get your account immediately after you hit enter.
So finally are the security keys with FIDO and the U2 universal second factor. So the FIDO Alliance gives, whether it's YubiKey or anybody else, it's an open source protocol where you can put it on this device, and the key here is that the site, the way it authenticates, is unphishable at this moment. So you don't have to worry about the site. It basically authenticates against, I guess, a server that's running on the server that it's on. So if it brings up Google, the key has to authenticate with Google and with you. And I'm dumbing this down a lot, but the short answer is that the website can't be spoofed.
Right. So if you log into if you get hit with a phishing site and it asks for your U2F key and you hit that button, it doesn't really help the thieves in any way at all. They have your username and password at that point, but they don't have the resultant operation that the security key does, right? They've got basically the result of you authenticating to the phishing site, but not to the main site that they're trying to get access to. So it's definitely a huge step in the right direction. And it's important to keep in mind that security is an ever-changing field of targets, right? Today, you can't phish U2F keys. Could that change tomorrow, next week, next year, in the next 10 decades? Probably, maybe. But right now, U2F is the most secure and unphishable option.
And so the key here is that is that Google has been selling this Titan security key so it's $50. You buy it, and it comes with two things. One, the key and this Bluetooth thing to help with Bluetooth devices. You need both for it to work. And I was going to buy it, but I mean, questionable issues like it's made in China, it's not made in the US, it's being outsourced, it's all these other little things. I put a pause on it. But now Google announced, said, "Hey, we're working with U2F. We made the phone, so the Pixel, at least right now, the Pixel phone, or no, it's any phone with Android 7 or higher. So Android OP, we're on P, OP, yeah, P is 9." So 2 versions ago. So basically, any modern phone this should work with. Basically, it makes you do it. I actually did the whole process. So you go to your Google account, you say add a security key. It asks you for your phone. It gives you a prompt. So we talked about Google Prompt in the past, where it just say, "Hey, is this you?" Now they're saying, "Hey, is this you?" And they're doing the U2F key instead of just, "Hey, this is you." So it becomes unspoofable. The only issue is your phone's Bluetooth needs to be on. And I think your computer's Bluetooth also needs to be on, but they don't have to be paired. So they just have to be on. I guess what it does is it does this handshake to verify that your phone's in location. And once it's in location, it says, "Okay, push this button," and it authenticates you.
Yeah, so the Bluetooth thing is a weird requirement to me. I get why they want to ensure device locality, but they could do that with GPS. As some machines, like my older laptop sitting over here, they don't have Bluetooth by default, and on most of my devices, I keep it off unless I'm actively using it. I don't need random radios on just to have them on. So I think that's a little odd. I need to look into why they made that design decision. I'm not going to say it's a bad decision or that it's unnecessary. Because I don't know the details behind it. The one thing I really do like about this, though, is it's not a yes/no click on your phone anymore. They actually make you press one of the volume triggers to enable that. And what that ensures, or at least helps ensure, because you can still kind of emulate that, is that the user has to actually physically press a button, and it would be harder to emulate that action in software. You would need, system or root level permissions on the phone to emulate that, the pressing of that button. So by forcing the user to actually click a volume knob, they're trying to get around the problem of malicious applications submitting U2F codes on your behalf.
It works well. Again, I don't know what, like you said, with the Bluetooth, that's a little bit weird. Right now it's Chrome only, but as you heard last week at RSA, that Firefox was also getting these type of logins. But for right now, since Google controls Gmail and G Suite and everything, they're keeping it with Chrome. I'm sure that will expand, but Chrome right now. You start slowly, but this is obviously a good thing.
And this is just for Google sites, right?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't use this key for like GitHub or Dropbox or the other U2F websites.
So the answer is no, you can't do it yet. But I have a feeling that this is because the phones were inducted into whatever the U2F consortium group. I have a feeling this is just Google showing a proof of concept, and maybe at I/O or next year or whatever it is, it will be one of those things that moves forward, and you can do this to replace an actual security token.
I could see that. If you do want a full U2F security key right now, and again, we're going to have a full security key episode when we get Yubico back on. But Yubico is right now selling a single key for $20. And I can tell you, I don't have my keys around me right now.
I got one. I have on the screen.
My YubiKey that I got years and years and years ago, probably over 5 years ago at this point, it's still going strong. Like, it has been crushed, it has gotten wet, it has been dragged through the mud, thrown a couple times, I'm sure, and the manufacturing process that Yubico uses for these keys is absolutely bulletproof. It is fantastic. So if you want a U2F key that just does U2F, I think the $20 for the Yubico one would be a fine start. But
And
if you want like all the information, you should wait till we get with Yubico and put out that episode.
it's going to be it's not going to be tomorrow. It's probably going to be a while, but
Yeah.
so same thing. Tom had the one from a few years ago. I still have that. It still works, but they've changed some standards there. So like you can't use it to authenticate against Gmail, which is a little bit annoying. So I do recommend not, you don't need to go the full $50 one, but for right now, at least the $20 or $25 one if you want an NFC. But like I would say, I would hold off, especially if you can get this working, because not every site has it. There's a whole bunch of different things. This is a premium feature in LastPass, so you're gonna have to pay for that. So just start slow and move on. And again, the whole problem with all of this is that the weakest link for me, at least with the Gmail account, could be, or for you, it could be that your phone number is there because you want Google to have your phone number for whatever, and it goes down the line. So when it wasn't working for me, not the Google prompt, the security key on G Suite and Google's products, I was in the incognito. It wasn't pushing it right. And it said, how else would you like to try? It said USB. So I guess I can plug in my phone to USB and do it that way. But then it goes, hey, do you have your 6-digit code? Well, if you don't have that, then it went to your backup codes, went all the way down. But then it went all the way down to SMS. If you have that enabled, then at that point, the weakest link is that link. So,
yeah.
it's a very good start. I really do like it, and it gives me that. I can hold off on a YubiKey until a little later. So, but I want to get now to our main story. Ars Technica is reporting that WPA3 has problems. So if you don't know, WPA3 is the new Wi-Fi standard. So everyone currently should be on WPA2. So WPA3 is supposed to be much, much more secure, easier to connect to, does silos all the traffic out so you don't have that hack that Firefox had. Forgot it, where you can see everyone where it steals the cookies.
So WPA2 has that too. They also do per client isolation. Or per client encryption keys.
So WPA3 had these issues, and they're basically reporting and this sounds kind of obvious, but if all your devices are not WPA3, which is going to take a while, there's something called a downgrade attack. They downgrade you to WPA2 security, and if they have any toolkits that can try and guess your password or do stuff, if your password is not strong, they can reverse engineer it, which is a big problem. I mean, if this is important to you.
Yeah, so basically the way it works is they downgrade your connection security to WPA2, collect a bunch of traffic, and then take your traffic offline and brute force it somewhere else. I believe they said they spent $125 worth of cloud computing infrastructure to crack a password. Required fewer than 40 handshakes, which is nothing. They brute forced the entire set of 8-character lowercase passwords. That's a pretty big deal. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of Wi-Fi passwords, and a lot of them aren't great. They're short. They're easy to remember. They're easy to yell across the room at somebody when people come over to your house. And that's by design, because convenience will always win in the eyes of the average user. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, most people aren't thinking about security. Hashtag nobody cares, I guess.
Hashtag nobody cares.
So this downgrade attack is annoying, but really the most annoying thing about this is that WPA3 and really all of the WPA standards and really all of the Wi-Fi standards are developed by, basically a closed group. It's developed by the Wi-Fi Alliance, which is a group of manufacturers, developers. It's a very closed, tight-knit group. And they develop this stuff, for lack of a better word, secretly. Then they say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the standard, and everyone moves forward. And then they announce it to the world, where cryptographers and security experts can go bash on it. And as we all know, that's not the way to develop a secure system. To build a secure system, you have to do so in the public eye. You have to give room and time for people to make comments, for people to bash on this stuff, to find all the bugs, and then you iterate on it enough and get enough feedback to where you feel that, yes, this is secure enough and you feel comfortable using this in real products going forward. This developing in secret is not the right answer, and it will always result in worse products.
We've seen this time and time again. I mean, whether it's you roll your own encryption and then you put it out, all these things that say we've done this new way without asking anybody always leads to problems. And we've heard about this. The Wi-Fi Alliance charges a ridiculous amount of money to be in their group. It's the big Wi-Fi players, because obviously they want to have their thing out first. They don't let the little guys in because it's so expensive. And then they wonder why no one's adopting it faster. I mean, the problem to get that little license on your router at the beginning, you probably used to cost money, just that little sticker. So
yep, it's
one of those, if you're the little guy trying to make a router, why not make, I mean, I don't understand what the Wi-Fi Alliance has to gain. Like, I don't know why that they're a group. Like, how are they other than membership fees? Why do they need money?
Another group that operates in extremely similar ways are I forget the official name, but it's basically the group behind HDMI. So anytime you plug in HDMI, there is a patent and license fee associated with that. The manufacturer has to pay for every plug, cable, and device that has HDMI on it. And it's kind of a racket. I'm not going to mince words. It's absolutely a racket. Another security flaw that these people found was there are side channel leaks happening in WPA3. You can actually recover somebody's password by sending them the same data over and over again, or making them send the same data over the air over and over again, which, by the way, you can do by just using the JavaScript in somebody's browser to have it, send and repeat the same handshake over and over again. It's not great. So it's the same sort of vulnerabilities that we've seen in WEP, WPA, WPA2, and now WPA3, because this stuff was developed in a vacuum without the security community rallying behind it and trying to crack it.
Now, I'm surprised that the Wi-Fi Alliance did not go after, I think it's Checkpoint Security. I don't know who. I think it's Checkpoint Security who did this. Some Israeli groups, so they're all the same. But
I'm not seeing Checkpoint. I'm seeing. Let me see. I just had the name of the group.
Basically, this violates some sort of reverse engineering clause. I mean, this is a DMCA violation. What they found, which I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go after. They just
these are university researchers.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I'm gonna butcher these names. Matthew Vanoff of New York University, Abu Dhabi, and Ayal Ronan of Tel Aviv University, and KU Leuven. I thoroughly apologize. I am the worst type of American. But these people did fantastic work. And if they were allowed to attack WPA3 before it became embedded in devices and standardized across the industry, we would have a better protocol. But because the Wi-Fi Alliance is secretive in nature and charges a lot of money to join, we have more broken Wi-Fi standards. Now, that said, it's not all doom and gloom. WPA3 is an improvement over WPA2. It is more secure, it is better, it is faster, and it is a little bit more battle-hardened. But the point remains, it could have been so much more had these people just followed best practices during development.
And again, you're putting out an appliance that you hope gets updated. I mean, that's another thing. We have no idea if it gets updated. Now, I don't think there are actually any Wi-Fi WPA3 devices out there yet, at least consumer modeled wise. But as we go into more mesh networks, I think, and more of these devices are auto updating. Hopefully, one, they get it at some point, and two, they're allowed to auto update. I hope it's not one of these things. Oh, you have to manually put this WPA3 update. I just want it to go through normally and all the security things. to go through. I think the second Wednesday, what is it? The Wednesday after Patch Tuesday should be a half day.
The Wi-Fi patch day.
No, I'm saying you should have Microsoft Patch Tuesday on Wednesday. You should have any other patches. All of them should follow the Patch Tuesday model, and you get to show up to work at like 10:30.
Just after everything's been patched, you're all good. Your system boots instead of like booting your system and then rebooting your system and then rebooting it for a third time because it's Windows and that's what you do. Yeah, I agree. I would like that to be all automatic.
Like just like you get to have an extended break. That should be the Monday morning meeting. You start at 9, but you have your meeting on Wednesday while everyone's computer is rebooting.
I'm good with this.
So, I mean, it's one of those things that, well, look, while WPA2 is strong, I mean, if you even the password on the size of your whatever Comcast, Verizon box, whatever, if you leave that password on, really nobody's getting into it unless they have a reason to. But just your threat model of that and your neighbor, they're not getting into your box. Now, if it's somebody who has a vested interest, they probably will. But they're brute forcing your password at this point. They're not doing much. So you're pretty good there. WPA3 makes it harder for more secure and more sensitive things. So like you said, sensitive sites have problems, but I'm not worried.
The best advice that I can give to our listeners is, look, it's a Wi-Fi password, right? You type it in, hopefully, once per device. So why not make it crazy long and complex? My Wi-Fi password is over 20 characters. It is a randomized jumble generated by KeePass. I don't know my Wi-Fi password. I couldn't even begin to type it in without looking at a password manager if I tried. But it hardly ever affects me. It affects me when I get a new device, or especially when I'm typing in something like on a TV or a game console, and I've got to use a little controller or remote to type it in. And it's terribly annoying, but it only happens once. And a super long, super crazy Wi-Fi password is the best type of defense against these kinds of attacks. Now, a long Wi-Fi password isn't really going to help you with side channel attacks and being able to determine, doing traffic analysis on patterns over data. But it will help with this brute force and downgrade attack issue. You might get downgraded, but it doesn't mean they're going to be able to crack your 30-character password. So make the password crazy long and you should be fine.
And the good news is that they've already patched this. So that's the good news. So we're not really worried about it. It's just we want to just reiterate the point that they should do this in the open and not close. But anyway, with that, I think we're done. We don't have too much more. That's what we got. So again,
join our WhatsApp group.
That's what I was going to say. If you have any other random questions, join the WhatsApp group and have fun in there, because we talk about a lot more than just these things, and you will have a good time. So just find us, tweet at us. We will get you in. Anyway, let's end this now, and we'll see everyone hopefully next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you, everyone.
Stop. And